Welcome to the Creative Tools Podcast. My name is Ashay, and I'm immensely passionate about using technology for creativity. On this podcast, I talk to various creators about what tools and technology they use to be creative. My guest today is Suyog Risbud. Suyog is a creator in both his personal and professional journeys. Personally, he has been producing videos on his YouTube channel, The Fun Indian Guy, for more than 5 years on the topics of creativity, design, innovation, and lifestyle. He has been running a podcast for last 4 years called Dailyish Pod on creative work style. He has recently started a Marathi podcast called Wifer to talk about the local Marathi culture and references. Professionally, he wears the hat of futurist art director at Futuring Now Studio, where he helps super brands to craft and communicate future scenarios and visions through videos. Hey Suyog, thanks for visiting my podcast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure finally to catch up after a while and talking on new topics.
Yeah. So I will dive right in. My first question is, what do you create?
So basically, last 5-6 years, I'm actually into, let's say, content creation side of it. So on my personal level, I create YouTube videos, podcast videos, and audios. Then there is Marathi podcast going on. A lot of stuff for Instagram in vertical format from content perspective. My YouTube channels, of course, and that's basically the personal side of it. And on the professional basis, I create future concept videos and stuff for the client with my own studio. So those are like the two primary creation, and then again the music production and everything is on the sides. That also I create, but that's not the like kind of focus of today.
So has your creations been always digital, or you also create something that's tangible and you can hold in your hands?
Good point. Now that reminds me of the other thing which we also create. So me and my wife Prachi, we actually started publication. So we took the like a physical like old analog camera, like 1969 types, Olympus OM10, and then we shot like 2 rolls on it, like 36 photos per roll, and then we developed it, and then we created like a photo book, which is now available, just like a zine, but like a photo book. That's like a physical thing, which is not a digital copy. So that's one thing in physical. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to I'm going to ask about three different sections in the creative process. The first section is pre-creation. So what you do before you start creating, then actual creation and post-creation. So let's focus our discussion around these three areas. So let's talk about the pre-creation aspect of it. So before you create your content, how do you receive and how do you record your inspiration, and how do you retrieve it when you want to create your content?
Right. So as I said before, like I have different, let's say, criteria and demands of new ideas and stuff. So usually sometimes you're going about your day and you keep coming up with new ideas, maybe also during commuting or something random. In that case, I kind of document it in an app like Google Keep or Notes or Day One or Obsidian. Like these are some of the apps I kind of jump around in. So that's like the first touch point where I just something comes in, then I just do it there, like document it there. I also write stuff down in the journal. So I would like really tell like proper journal, physical journal, and sketch something and write it. So that is also there. But mostly like new ideas are usually documented in that perspective. On the other hand, if something has to be created for certain goal, if it's like a client project or if some topic I already know I need to work on, then that becomes like the starting point can be research oriented. So doing the research on that topic first and then documenting that, and then kind of starting to write the script and everything. So that's how like the initial phase of a project.
So this is recording, but has it ever happened to you that you recorded your inspiration in your journal or in the Keep app or whatever, and then from
the moment of recording the inspiration to the moment of actually creating, like weeks and months went by, and then you now have to retrieve the inspiration that you have recorded. So how do you remember like what you have written and then go back to it?
Right. Good point. So sometimes it's like instantaneous, like where like I come up with something and then we actually work on it and then
Right.
get it out. But some ideas are not really you can work upon immediately because they're
Right.
like inspirations which came from nowhere. So in that case, sometimes I lose them, but it's always like because it's documented somewhere, there are days when I just go back and see what was there written before. So at those instances, they just come back. It's not like it's a process where I actively seek for them. But sometimes I'm just going around and like if I'm traveling and I have nothing left to read, I sometimes just go back to like, oh, what I had written before. And then that way I can kind of see. But the new app which I recently came across was the Day One. The good thing about that particular app is basically just like how Facebook shows, 5 years ago you were here or last year you were doing this. So it has that algorithm where it kind of pops the stuff you have written last year. So I've just started to use it. So of course I do not have like a lot of data in it to like call back, but it's interesting to see that so that you can actually get some triggers and reminders and notification that last year you were thinking about this.
This is interesting. I have never heard about this app. So this is a app for note taking app. What is it exactly?
So primarily it's note taking app. Day One, there is a possibility that you can access the same thing from your phone or your computer or anywhere, but that particular feature needs like a premium upgrade, so you have to pay for that. So I'm not using it that much that I'm not paid for it. Free version, every journal is a standalone on your phone, separate journal, on your laptop, separate journal. But this is a primary note taking app. You can add photos in it, you can add videos in it, you can add voice notes in it, but it kind of goes into the like how Notion and everything has, no, it's like one text format. In that you can put files. But it's Day One. The name is Day One because the idea is you should journal every day. So there also you can add triggers in that app, which you can set a reminder and it will be like what are you thinking about now, and then you write it. So every day you put a entry. So there are like different things in the app. But yeah, it was interesting because this is the only app where I see you can get some callback and reminders of what you
Yeah.
had done before, not like
Yeah.
this hundreds of
But
notes.
those reminders are shown to you based on what criteria?
So usually the main thing is last year you were doing this or two
Last
years
year.
back you were doing this.
Okay.
Then it has also map. So if let's say for example you had gone somewhere to travel and you got a lot of inspiration there, so you can zoom out, see the map and see the notes on the map. So you can remember like what was I thinking about in Milan? You go to Milan and see. So there are
Oh.
these small other things added, which is interesting. Let's see. I'm just exploring. I haven't started to use it. Like,
Is it pretty new? Like, is it a new app or it has been around for a while?
it could be like because so many note taking apps these days. Of course I came across it through some productivity video on YouTube. So that guy talked about it and I just downloaded it. It looked pretty nice. So that was it. Otherwise, Obsidian is something which like blew my mind away when I used it for the first time. Because there the note taking and how that makes connection to other note was like crazy.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Like what?
So,
This is very interesting. I have never heard about this. That's why I'm interested.
so one random morning, I was just reading through random articles on Medium, and there I stumbled upon one article about Zettelkasten method of research. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation of his name, but this particular person was a researcher back in the day, and he had a certain method of storing ideas. So he had 4-step process. So I don't remember exactly the whole process anymore, but in a way he was able to connect each idea to other idea that even after he died, a lot of people just took his notes and it in one mechanism they could put out books with topical stuff because it was arranged and organized in a certain way physically.
Okay.
So in that article, they talked about Obsidian, which is an app where you can set up such systems. So Obsidian is a basic app where whenever you type something in that, it actually creates like a TXT file, which is like you can access it from any system anytime. And it stores it on your local disk, or you can also back it up. So it's like time, let's say, proof. And in that, there is a like you can create links between something. So for example, if I talk about, let's say, automobiles. So automobile can be main topic, and then let's say I talk about Porsche, then I can say that Porsche is part of automobile, and then in Porsche I talk about 911, the car, or something like that, and that's how the process goes. But then there is a view where you see all those nodes and connectors, and you can isolate just Porsche. Then all the articles about Porsche will pop,
but
and
you
that's like
have
a
to make those
train of
connections
thought.
manually.
No, you just have to add like the tags, not the tags as hashtags, but you have to put it in the brackets a certain way. So it creates those links automatically
But
then.
anyway, in any case, you have to add it manually. Like it won't recognize that Porsche and car are.
No. You have to
Okay.
refer. You have to do the reference in that so that it
Okay.
knows. But it's like a train of thought. So how I use it for creativity is like when for example, I start with a topic, Marathi podcast example, then I'll write some article, like some ideate some topics, and in that topic, then I'll do the callback of one topic and go to the topic article, write something there, and then I'm like, oh, this is also interesting. So I can just highlight one word in that sentence, and about that word, I can write another article. So that's how I use it as a train of thought, but in a kind of structured way. So we have it laid down, not only in thoughts.
I was talking to someone yesterday, and he mentioned that the way for him to remember is he always attaches a piece of music to an idea. So so he has like the a Pandora account, and whenever an idea comes to him or something, he writes it down, and then he figures out a music that he, because he listens a lot, so he just figures out a music and then takes a screenshot of that and then puts it in the screenshot folder of iPhone. So then when he goes back to just listening to the music, he can like bring back that same idea. So
nice.
That's another thing that people use.
Yeah. But I think the point of all the apps, like it's not like I'm consistent on the same app. It's just that something is interesting at a point. So for that phase, I use that app. So like that's why my ideas are all over different platforms, even in the normal physical journals.
But so isn't it challenging, or is it completely based on your memory right now? Isn't it challenging to know where you have stored an idea? I mean, have you missed any idea?
Like I will never know that if I missed, because I don't know. Sometimes I'm reading my own stuff and I'm like, wow, this was very thoughtful. but it's need based. Like if I need something and it's not like I don't have any ideas that I have to go back and look for something, I can always come up with a new idea. But some references and some things which got inspired back then, those are nice documentation. As I said, like I refer to it once in a while, but it's not like a crucial point that if I miss something, I missed it. Like if it's a client project, I won't miss it because then everything will be documented properly. I know everything everywhere. And in that context, I usually use Miro boards. So we have like infinite art boards and we put everything there. It's a collaborative stuff. So there, like even the references, mood boards and everything is on the same board. And then storyboards also come on the same board.
Right. So that is basically recording your inspiration right where you are creating your creation as well. So it's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very demand-based inspiration.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the creation aspect now. So for actually creating your content, what do you use?
So we have equipment. That's the one part of it, which is like cameras and microphones and the recorders and everything. So that's tech part of it. And then of course everything is shot, and then the stuff is put into the laptop and the editing starts. But for creation in specific, like sometimes now I've started to write some scripts because I understood that is the best way to do stuff in the terms of my videos, which are more like conversational. But while creating, I refer to some notes. Sometimes I just make bullet points like on a desk paper. So I have the paper in front of me, and then all the gadgets, which you basically need, like light and everything.
So I guess what you are saying is you kind of either don't necessarily storyboard, but you write down the idea. So it's like a text storyboard for you. So text outline of what you are going to talk in the content. Okay.
And the recent ones. Earlier I used to just take the topic and say anything. And for the client, like where the structured videos are made, there we actually have the script with everything, what is happening on the screen and everything. And then the storyboard's also there.
So let's talk about both of them. So the script that you write, or like the bullet points that you write, are they just on a piece of paper, or they are somewhere in some software?
So today, before this call, we recorded 2 podcasts in Marathi. So for that, the first one had the pointers, and all the pointers were in Google Docs. But what I've realized, no, even if it's the same content, just writing it on the paper, it's easier to like grasp and talk about. Because today I had it in the proper font and everything on Google Docs, but it was like somehow everything looked same. All the bullet points looked same while I'm talking to the camera and looking at the like, where is it? But when I write it, you kind of has a handwriting, had spacing. You can also make some small sketch around it. It's just easier to grasp if you have like on the spot kind of a thing. But yeah, it comes from usually the document, like which is digital. But for the recording purpose, I make it in physical.
And then okay, and then you are recording on camera and also in your microphone. So are those two separate recording entities, or you eventually it is just one file?
So today we had multi-camera setup. So we had 2 cameras set up, and then we had Zoom H6, which is like a voice recorder, which was plugged to 2 microphones. So different files. So basically 4 files: 2 audio files, separate microphones, and 2 video files.
And then what is going to happen after this? Like
now,
how are you going to edit this?
So we will pull it in Premiere Pro. We'll align everything because there are claps in it. So we'll align everything, and according to the conversation, I'll switch between the cameras.
So the audio video sync, you have to do it manually for each take. Correct?
I'll just do one clap. That's all. Because it's just at the beginning of the first thing. Then it's all aligned.
Oh, so you haven't taken takes. You basically just kept the camera on.
Everything is rolling.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But then you need to then remove stuff now in editing to make it a cohesive video later. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much. Like some fumbles here and there, we'll remove that. And actually, we had to record we had to, like, because Sony has 30 minutes this thing cut off. So after 30 minutes, it stops recording. So one podcast went above that. So in that particular thing, we did clap again, so we can align everything again. But I think in Premiere Pro, it automatically also does it, stitching. But I've not used that feature.
And so how many times do you have to do this? Like what we just discussed?
No, at the beginning of the clip, and then I edit. Like
no. What I'm saying is the actual video making. How frequently do you do this? Like what's the frequency of your podcast? That's my question.
So right now, Marathi one we are doing once a week. So that's like right now we did 2 episodes because for 2 weeks we'll be sorted. But before that, actually, I recorded 7 episodes of English podcast, which is a new format I came up with today itself. So it's not like a longer podcast, but like a mini micro episodes, which I wanted to do for a while. So before I set all the cameras and everything, but this English one was audio only. So I just recorded and started recording and did some open like warm up kind of a thing. And then I recorded multiple episodes. But then that was also like 30-minute long file, which has 5 episodes in it. So we'll cut it afterwards in the post.
And your podcast are video podcast or audio podcast?
So usually video, audio, both. But today I started one in English, which will be only audio. Because once in a while, I just do this one season or one particular small show, which is just audio. Because the video podcast, it takes a while to like really, because on video, you have to first of all set up everything.
Right.
Editing also is a longer period of time.
Correct.
And it's just that you also need a lot of different kind of energy to be in front of camera, be smiling, and should be engaging. So once in a while, I give myself a break by just doing audio version, where it's like it can be recorded also in dark, and one pressure is a bit less.
In terms of actually creating the content and processing the content with these tools, which process do you enjoy the most?
Just a second. Sorry, can you come again?
So in terms of So looks like what you are doing a lot of um, video and audio content, and also doing a lot of editing of that. So there are two aspects to it, right? One is creating the content, coming up with ideas, writing it down and creating the content. And then once that content is recorded, you have to process the content. So which
Right.
process do you enjoy the most? The creating portion of it or processing portion of it?
I think both has ups and downs per se. For example, like sometimes creating is, if you're in the flow, it's easier and it's just fun because you're doing a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
There's a performance element to it, but sometimes it also needs a lot of energy more than the processing, because processing you sit down and there is a certain process. You're not like, you like the chance of expression is not as much as chance of expression in performance.
Right.
So sometimes I just like to just sit down and edit when I'm not into my performance mode. But I think the most exciting one is the bit where you record, because it's like where you do no ideas talking about it and all. But that is also most effort, high intensity, high effort, high drainage.
I mean, one thing that I have observed for myself is, I mean, creativity is a rechargeable resource. So it's not like an infinite resource. So your battery will go down like after a certain point, right?
True.
So to preserve my battery for the creativity portion of content making is something that I am immensely passionate about, and that's what I try to do. And that's why I like create like some automations or like something so that I can quickly get over the hump of processing my content and then go back into my creative mode.
Right.
So that's why I asked, like, what do you enjoy the most? I mean, there are some people who enjoy the processing part of it, but there are some folks who would enjoy the creative part of it. So that's why.
I think it's again up and down. Sometimes you're
Right.
convinced about it, sometimes you're not convinced about it at all. So like the last English podcast season, 30 to 30, like I think we shot 32, but we premiered 31. So 31 episodes were there, and all 31 episodes were recorded in 5 nights. So we shot like 10 minutes episode back to back 5 nights, which was in December. And then from January I started editing, posting, and it went on till like July. So like half of the year content was shot in a week, but then it took half year to edit, post. And I didn't edit, I wanted to edit it together, but then it just too much work. So I'll edit as the week comes.
Okay. Now let's talk about the post creation aspect. So how do you release? And by release, what I mean is release from yourself. Like the release meaning now the episode is ready or now the content is ready. I'm not going to make any changes to it. That kind of release. So how do you release? How do you distribute? And how do you market your content?
So my content, because it takes a lot of energy and efforts to really build one, because like most of the time procrastinating, like why should I make it?
Yeah.
Who is gonna watch it? Not many people are gonna listen to it probably. I don't know. So there's a lot of questioning always happening, right? And even if you are doing it for like almost 5.5, 6 years, you'll still keep questioning. So for me, whenever I make it, then it just get done with it and post. Like you don't want to dwell over it because the content type is more instantaneous,
Right.
and it's not like a big form, like long format. So from mentally, I release it the moment the edit is done. Even if I see some mistakes after a point, I'm not gonna touch it. Like it's fine. It's fine. If it's a client project, then of course they ask for iterations. But after some iterations, you also ask, like you pay, like, you charge them for extra. So that is fine. But from my end, I just release it like it's done. Wow, we made something. Let's just get done with it. And from distribution perspective, of course, YouTube, we use the YouTube stuff. Like there's no automation involved anywhere apart from the podcast distribution, because there we use like Anchor, which then distributes to every other platform. So podcast, like that is the best thing. It has become so easy to distribute podcast. It's just like anybody can do it now. So that's why even number of podcasts are very high.
Right. But even for Anchor, you have to publish your podcast one at a time, right?
For like
can you do a batch publish?
You can schedule it. Yeah, that's there.
But schedule also you have to do one by one, correct?
Yeah. There is no like a dashboard where you 10 and then you do one. You have to upload one, write the keywords and metadata stuff, and
Right.
then you schedule it. That's
So
the
if you
way.
have, let's say, 31 episodes, you do it 31 times in Anchor?
Yeah, I did it 31 times, but it was like once or twice a week. So I didn't do it at one day, which I could have done easily, but then
Hmm.
I didn't edit them that fast. So
Hmm.
it was a weekly thing,
Okay. And
but it distributes to multiple platforms. So that's
sure.
cool.
Yeah, right. Right. And what about marketing? How do you market? How do you let people know that you have something like this?
So there was a phase when I used to do like inorganic marketing. Like I used to pay Facebook to put
Hmm.
my videos everywhere. That was like a beginning phase of it. And that time I used to also post on Facebook because a lot of people used to post videos on Facebook and YouTube together. So that time I used to pay money and do the marketing bit and telling people like watch my video, WhatsApp and everything. But as now I do not like that doesn't work. First of all, you can't pay like unless
Hmm.
until you're selling something which is really valuable for people and really adds like some sort of immediate value. People are not like paying money for getting your eyeballs on that. It doesn't make any sense because there's
Hmm.
no money back from it. But marketing wise, I just post, maybe I'll post it on Instagram, like say something. If it's a video about some innovation stuff, I'll post it on LinkedIn, and that's about it. Like it's nothing else than that. I might not even put stories anymore. It's just that it's too redundant because even if let's say you have 100,000 followers, then it makes sense to share that okay, new
Hmm.
stuff is out, because maybe 10,000 of that will see it, maybe 2,000 will click and go on the link and see it. But
Hmm.
if you have like 2,500, 3,000, in which like half of your friends, you can't keep nagging them like for 5 years, thrice weekly. Watch my stuff. They're like, they get it.
How do you make reels?
I so what we did is basically because we had 32 episodes now, I hired a person to edit it and make reels out of it with subtitles.
Oh, okay. Can
So
you talk
now
about that? Because this is something new that I'm hearing. So, you.
so the task of that person was I didn't even send him. I made an Excel sheet of all the videos I wanted in reel format. And then that person had to go through the video, find like a reel kind of material, like 5 videos, 6 videos, which are reel worthy, which can stand alone. He had some rules to
Hmm.
follow. And I did reviews. So I asked him to do this, not that, and stuff like that. So he used to pick the time slots. Then I used to verify the time slot. Okay, this clip works. And then he used to kind of edit like in vertical, put subtitles on it. He used to add also b rolls on that, but it was very, I didn't like the vibe. It was very cliche of
Hmm. Hmm.
like I'm talking about something and then there will be like maybe Britishers clapping, or like maybe some American eating something or
Hmm. Hmm.
laughing, giving high five. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
So those stock footage I don't like so much because it doesn't go with the vibe. It just feels very artificial. So, but then he used to produce that. So he actually created like 30, 40 of them. I posted I think 10 out of them out of all those 30. But again, now I have to post the rest of it. Just the no motivation left
And this
anymore.
is
Like
and this is for what content? Your Marathi podcast or something else?
Marathi podcast started recently, 3 episodes
Okay.
now. But
Okay.
this
Okay.
was the English podcast, the 32 episode, no, 31 episode, the
Huh.
same content, that one. So
Oh,
there we
okay.
already have about what I don't 150-ish episodes or more on
Okay.
English,
Okay.
out of which I think around 100 are videos. So we
Okay.
had a lot of things to go through from like 2, 3 years ago.
How did your the collaboration with this person go? Like, did you use any particular tools for it? For
Uh,
him to select the timestamp, then you to look at that timestamp and then go through the video. I mean, how did you do it?
Google Sheet. So basic, I used to put the video, then you used to add basic Google Sheet format. First was the title of the video, then the link of the video, and then next columns for the each timestamp. And I used to click on it and used to put like a cut on the Google Drive video link, and then I used to see there, approve. If it's good, then I used to download. Otherwise, I used to mark it in a different highlight color and ask him to like all the orange ones are reviews, and all I used to add comments in that particular box with what
And
is supposed to be changed.
what did this person use for editing your reels?
Premiere Pro, I guess. Premiere Pro.
Okay. Are there like real editors these days? I had no clue. I'm just asking.
So
Like
I came across, I was looking for somebody from long back, but I
hmm,
couldn't come across anybody. And the people I came across were charging a lot of money.
hmm,
So this particular person, he himself mailed me from like a lot of, I get keep a lot of cold emails.
hmm,
So out of those couple of people I taste, like I send them video and ask them to cut those
hmm,
and
hmm,
send
hmm,
me so I can see the quality of work, and I paid them for those 2 clips.
hmm,
And out of that I picked this one person. But later on, because the demand is high, no, and now he is I think working with also customers from outside on Fiverr and stuff, because he
hmm,
got introduced to European and US world,
hmm,
and
hmm,
there
hmm.
the cost of the reel is way higher. So now I think he's cost charging way more than what I started with.
Okay, okay. Um, then next question is, what is the biggest challenge you face in your creation process?
Uh, I don't know, to stay motivated to, because it all boils down. Even if we have like technical challenges and everything, we can
Yeah,
come, like we can always find something to fix it.
right.
It's just that how can you keep something running? And even if you don't keep running, it's fine. Like, how do you just feel good about it at the end of the
Hmm,
day? It's
hmm,
not like, because that consistency and all those things, like those things were floating around. And I also bought into that at certain point. But then I also realized it doesn't make a lot of sense in a long run game.
hmm, hmm.
So how do you just be like content with your content and not like push yourself? That's like the, like I get it. It's not like I don't understand this. It's like I know how to work on it also, but how to keep that always intact, that okay, this is the game.
So how
That's
are
like the
you
challenge.
solving that problem?
Yeah, it's like that, those waves. So it's like I know the solution, but the solution is not always working. But I give time these days. As I said, no, like there is always this burst, as you also said, that there's always a burst where you are like really high on
Yeah,
energy and enthu. So you kind of convert and cash into it, and then you try to produce as much faster as possible,
yeah,
or at
yeah,
least get the starting points of a lot of things, so
yeah.
you don't have to struggle. So like with
Uh,
Marathi podcast, one hack I'll tell you, because now all this while 5 years now I'm doing things to the camera by myself alone. So there's no
hmm,
audience interaction.
right.
So it's like one man army. There's nobody in the room, darkness, and just lights on you. But I have like a very long background of music. So I have been on stage and performed a lot and
Hmm,
had that chemistry with the crowd and played music for them.
hmm,
And
hmm,
I really like the crowd interaction part of it. So I always wonder like how can I bring it to the video content. So now the Marathi podcast which we are shooting, what we are doing is, because Prachi is in front, I kind of is I'm interacting with her in a way.
okay.
So there's somebody in front of you. So that way it's just easier to get the content out, and it's also much more human other than just
Hmm,
like a
hmm,
monologue, which is not really as
right,
nice as what it would be in front of other people.
right, right.
Yeah.
And how has digital technology impacted your creation process?
Uh, I think the whole creation journey is started only in the all digital approach.
Hmm,
So that has been like the main fueling factor of everything.
hmm,
Though it gives you a lot of options and a lot of possibilities, but that also kind of becomes the obstacle, because then you have too many ways of doing things. But then you are like, okay, why should we do it? Or then that also becomes like a challenge to overcome. So digital has played both ways a good role, but then sometimes just going non-digital or like physical and doing stuff with hand just to get the sanity back, that
hmm.
has also played a huge role just to have that balance. But yeah, of course, digital has been the crucial point, because everything we do is because of all these apps and softwares and platforms and tech.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the tools and technology that's around you right now, and you are looking at them, how do you see yourself creating in future? Do you see yourself continuing on the same path that you have right now, or you would like to see something different in you?
I see what it boils down to is more than how you say it or what kind of tech are we using or what kind of platforms are we using. What you are saying is very important, and that is also one thing why I wouldn't go and make a lot of videos, right? Because a lot of other people can also say the same things, or maybe people who have much more experience than me in that particular field will have better understanding and point of view to offer on that particular topic.
Hmm.
So it's more from the personal journey. Like I'm going too philosophical now, or let's say too deep, but I feel it's more towards like what you learn, what you can experience, what kind of things you have to offer, which can add value to anybody's life.
Hmm.
That is more at the focus. Otherwise, then it's become like, of course, the imposter syndrome and all those terms are also flying around. But it really boils down to you as a person and what you have to offer. Because the world is going to exist without you as well, but like
Hmm.
why your stuff is important, and to get to that level, I think it's more like what you learn and what you pick up and what are the things you are doing and experience in, which can give you a different edge
Hmm.
than other people, to be in this market where there's so many people have so many things to say.
Hmm. Great. Hey, Suyog, thanks a lot for your time. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you for triggering amazing conversations and these thoughts. Some of the things even I had to think about. So it was a nice time. Thank you.
Yeah, it is actually usually fun that we use a lot of tools and technology for our creations, but we don't necessarily give thought of what actually we are using. And one of the reasons why I started this podcast is to understand, like talking with fellow creators and understand like what exactly the tools that they're using and how it can help other creators
Right.
to understand. I mean, for example, like the Day One and Obsidian that you just talked about, I had no clue that these tools exist. So I'm going to
Yeah,
give
yeah.
it a shot. Yeah,
Nice. True.
great. Thanks, Suyog. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you are a creator, I would love to talk with you. Please connect with me through my website or social media. See you in the next episode.